Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined by Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and I make this look good.
Yeah, he does. But sadly, we don't have the guy who makes it look the most good here. Sean is still on location, and everybody. And let's kind of drop the curtain here, Bruce.
Okay.
We're recording this ahead of time so Adam can go to Dragon Con. So I have just gotten back by the time this episode drops.
Yes, perfect.
So we're excited, guys. We're excited about everything that we're doing here because I don't know if you put two and two together. I don't know how good you are at context clues, but we're going to be reviewing Men in Black today.
I'm just getting jiggy with it over here. I didn't even have the song right.
Oh, man, getting jiggy with it. Man, it was. We talked about it a couple weeks back, man. The summer was usually just Big Willy time, man.
Yeah, man, Big Willy Weekends.
And
that's why I had that song Summertime.
It was in there, dude, and this was in that area. We were talking before the show. We had like 95, you had Bad Boys. What was it? What was the next one? Independence Day was what, 96?
Independence Day was 96, 97 was the movie we're about to talk about, and was 98 when Wild Wild West brought it all crashing down, or was that later?
I believe that sounds about right. 90, it sounds close.
Yeah, we had a nice 3 years where Will Smith owned the summer, and then he brought it to a crashing halt.
Yeah, and then maybe not so much, but he's starting to bring it back, man. Suicide Squad was like number one for like 3 weeks in a row. That's saying something.
And, I'm not comparing the movies. I'm just comparing the box office. But a lot of the folks that have negative things to say forget that Suicide Squad is eating Guardians of the Galaxy's lunch in terms of domestic box office.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a different time, man. I don't know.
Way back in 2014,
movies
movies were totally different.
It sounds ridiculous, but in a way, it's kind of true.
Well, yeah, and I'll just say that, not to get too far off, we've already talked about BVS and Suicide Squad, but those DC movies can open. It doesn't matter what they are. They can open strong. And Guardians was a property that people didn't know it was going to be good till folks went and saw it. And opening strong goes a long way with the box office.
Yeah, look, it's Coca-Cola. It's a recognizable brand, and people just go, "Oh, that's the thing that I know." Well, I'll go and get that because it's the thing that I know.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's for good or for bad, man. They're gonna make another one at this rate, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and there may even be like a couple of spinoffs out of it. Who knows? There could be a Deadshot and a Harley Quinn team up.
No, man, it's all about Captain Boomerang solo film, y'all.
I want to see the prequel about Slipknot.
Oh, nobody wants to see that. Not even the producers, who killed him off in approximately 45 seconds. Who's this Indian guy? Never you mind. Bang, bang. Well, he's dead now.
Talk about an easy paycheck for Adam Beach.
He'll take it, man. But yeah, so Men in Black today. A lot of people don't realize that this is a comic book movie, but it was one that was in there. We'll talk about the connections and everything. You know how we guys do on this show. But we got some emails, Bruce. We don't get tons of emails, but we got some in here for us today. This one is from Maria. Maria will sound familiar to some of you, and we'll find out here in just half a second why that is. It is entitled Good Superhero Movie for Little Kid. Hey guys, I found out about you from Preacher Podcast, and then I followed your Film Find and Hear Movie podcast. Grazie. You guys make my workday better by listening to your awesomeness. Anyways, so I have a 4-year-old boy who loves Iron Man, Hulk, Batman, and Superman. Are there any superhero movies, past or present, that would be good for a little guy who loves superhero toys? Now, I'm not one of those super anal moms on what my boy watches, as long as it's decent enough for his age group, i.e. little kids. So I wouldn't mind, so I wouldn't show him something like The Killing Joke. Ha, ha, ha. Keep up the good work, Maria from upstate New York. So
I'm going to assume we can take Deadpool off the list, too.
So Deadpool's off the list. Well, here's the thing, man. Kids won't get that stuff. They won't get half the jokes in there. It's not going to be a big deal. Don't worry.
And it's got nothing to do with the R rating. Spawn just shouldn't be watched by anyone.
No,
so
you should just leave that one off the table, period. Though I will tell you this, man. You know what if you're a fan of kind of comic book art, you may not even be a fan of the guy's art per se. I kind of always was back in the day. But Todd McFarlane's Facebook page is fantastic.
Oh man, the guy's a good artist and a better businessman, so I'm a big fan.
He's and because I did meet him back in like 1995 when I got him to sign all my Spawn books and stuff, and a couple Spider-Mans as well. But just the nicest guy in the world. Just a really genuinely nice person. But like seeing his art kind of like little demos and stuff and showing people how to draw on his Facebook page, super, super awesome. So,
not to mention, he almost single-handedly created the whole market of like high-end collector toys.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
the
absolutely.
guy is unbelievable.
Absolutely. I mean, without him and McFarlane Toys ushering that in here, there's so many companies that do that stuff now and very, very lucratively, and that is really definitely all on the back of him. Because I guess, I mean, he brought the same thing to Action Toys that they did with like Image Comics. We're going to bring in higher, quality paper and, kind of make things nicer and everything. So, bravo to that.
How old did she say the child was?
I believe 5.
5, okay, because I've got a 5-year-old. So,
Four.
my 5-year-old really liked Guardians
enough.
of the Galaxy, one that we've already been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some nice little songs. He was singing Hooked on a Feeling for a solid month.
Nice.
And then I don't think you can go wrong with the classic 1979 Superman movie, the Christopher Reeve first Superman movie.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Burton's Batman. I mean, I was a little older than that when I saw it, but it's just so good visually. Batman Returns, maybe not appealing to the 5-year-old as much, but I think you can't go wrong with Batman either.
Yeah, I was like 7 when Batman hit, and that was fine for me. The only thing that really, the thing that scared me the most in Batman when I was a kid was when he opens up she opens up the cardboard box and the hand pops out with the flowers. Just that little thing startled me as a kid, and I was like, the rest was fine. But that was a bit that made me go, oh.
And, of the recent Jokers, as far as kids are concerned, I think Jack Nicholson was the least scary. You know what I mean? He was just more of a solid silver Bronze Age type Joker, not the darker Jokers we got in later movies.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a craziness there, but it's not like as there's some of it in there, of course, but as psychotic of a, killer, if you will.
And stay away from Superman 3, because when that lady got turned into a robot, that haunted my dreams for like a year after I saw that movie as a kid.
It haunted me when we watched it a couple months back, so that's bad enough. What I will say is something that I think we've even toyed around kind of off air about reviewing at some point or another. But Sky High, man.
Yeah, I forgot it. And Shark Boy and Lava Girl. My kids really like that one, too. I kind of forget about those movies.
So those are kind of, comic book related type things that, don't really have the proper kind of, franchise sort of stuff that's going on, notable characters and everything. But in their own rights, decent little superhero films. So.
And yeah, for a 5-year-old, I think I would emphasize visuals, the stuff with the bright colors and the big effects, even if the story's a mess. My kids can always enjoy some of these superhero movies that I don't like as much just because they're into the visuals of it. They don't really care that much about the story. So even like the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, my middle kid, he loved that movie for a while.
Yeah. I would also say this, like the upcoming, I don't know when the actual date dropping is, but have you seen the new trailer for the little Batman animated thing coming out with Adam West and Burt Ward?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I have seen a couple of like press releases, and I'm sure that the 5-year-old's already marked his calendar to go see Lego Batman when that comes out as well.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, of all the that's probably almost number one on my list. I'm gonna love all of the ones that I see more or less because this is just kind of what we do. That's why we do this show, man. But that is one of the ones that I am most looking forward to is the Batman Lego movie. Oh my gosh, like all the trailers are so good. If it just lives up to even half the hype of what the trailers are doing for me, I think I'm going to be thoroughly pleased. And again, it's like the Lego movie. That's pretty much anybody can see that. So.
Yeah, and I wish I'd been a forward-thinking parent, so when all my kids were very young, I just would have shown them the old 70s stuff and try to convince them that's what everybody's talking so much about in the theaters right now.
You're dumb enough to buy this, aren't you?
Yeah, I really tried to convince one of my kids that 70s Avengers trailer that somebody put together was legit. He really thinks that's the Avengers movie I saw when I was a kid. So I'm going to let him go with that for a while.
Or no, I'd be like, here's the new thing that's coming out. Oh yeah, they couldn't afford all the other actors again. Marvel's falling on hard times. And then you just show them this, and you're just like, this looks so ghetto. You're like, oh man. Yeah, that's why we do it. So we got another email. Thanks for that email, Maria. Speaking of people with the names that start with an M, Bruce, we can, it's like the facts of life around here. You know? You take the good, you take the bad, and so this one's entitled...
You take them both, and there you have Mrs. Garrett's cleavage, right? Isn't that what I learned on The Family Guy?
That's what we all learn. I'm looking at you, Mrs. Garrett. I'm looking at you, Mrs. Garrett. I don't know. Stupid. So this one's entitled A Complaint.
Oh, boy.
And it's from our good friend Marty. And it says here, to be read in the style of Dr. Dan Dew.
Oh, boy.
So I'll do my Dan Dewdist, if you will.
Yeah, Dan Dew's on location with Sean doing his personal assistant duties.
I have to go after that fool every week and make him do what he's supposed to do, which is not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it's the best. Because he can't be sullied by... We can't sully Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by having Sean watch it and make it worse. I don't know that it could be worse, Dr. Dan Dew. You're the one doing my voice, jackass. Shut up and start reading the letter. Good point. Hey, Adam, Sean, and Bruce. As an HMP for some time now, I'm really sorry to have I've had to send in a complaint about the last few episodes. Although I'm very interested in Robin ratings, Stallone connections, comic book connections, and even chowder buckets, I'm afraid you've let your standards slip. For the last handful of episodes, there's been a serious lack of shoe and other footwear-related discussions. I felt I was becoming quite knowledgeable of 80s sensible shoes, Adidas collections, and even how much a reasonable amount to spend, but that feels like some lifetime ago now. Is Sean the man in the know for this? If so, then I look forward to his return and the continuation of this subject. Yours, the owner of many a sensible shoe, whilst all the cool kids were wearing high tops, Marty. P.S. Preacher Podcast. I don't watch the show. I don't read the comic, and I don't even listen to the podcast, but I do email the show.
Now that's awesome.
I'm like, look, awesome. I just figure it's a thing that's there, so I'm going to email them. Hello, there we are. Goodbye.
I was eating my pudding, and it tasted funny. What's up with that?
I knew the only thing I could do was write into Preacher Podcast and make it happen.
I need a letter of recommendation for the parole board.
You sound like a guy who just got let out of the joint. All right.
Man. Well, I'll say as far as shoes are concerned, Ruse. You can't go wrong with Ruse, man. They got a little Velcro pocket on the side where you can put a couple of quarters to get a soda later. You can't go wrong with Ruse.
Or a dime, if you will. Anyways, that's an inside joke for the adults. So he'll be back eventually. Well, we're pretty sure. We hope. We're praying on it, really.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. But until then, you got to deal with the two of us jokers. And today we're going to be reviewing Men in Black. Here is the trailer.
We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency. We'll take it from here.
Who the hell are you?
INS Division 6.
There is no Division 6.
Our mission is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth.
You're all here because you're the best of the best, and we're looking for one of you.
Hey, what's up?
I want to get some coffee. You want some coffee?
No, thank you, I'm fine.
Hey, fellas. You guys get along all right?
All right, I'm in.
From now on, you will have no identifying marks of any kind. You are no longer part of the system. We are the Men in Black.
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
Series 4, De-Atomizer.
That's what I'm talking about.
Noisy cricket.
I feel like I'm gonna break this damn thing.
Oh, it gets better.
Ted, we have a bug.
Unlimited technology from the whole universe, and we cruise around in a Ford POS.
Fasten your seatbelt.
See, now we got to work on your people skills.
Columbia Pictures and Amblin Entertainment present.
I knew it. This is an alien, and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
Nah.
Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm going to count to 3.
He'll do it, Jeeves.
1.
I'm telling you, that man does not look stable.
2.
He's always crazy. Why don't you get a massage or take a cream?
3.
Do you have any idea how much that stings?
Will Smith.
What the hell are you?
Your world's gonna end.
In a new film from the director of The Addams Family and Get Shorty. Men in Black. Protecting the Earth from the scum of the universe.
You know how to use these things?
No idea whatsoever.
All right, that was the trailer for Men in Black, our retro movie of this week. Here's the, well, it's off the internet because IMDb is down right now. I don't know what's going on there. Well, at least it won't open in the app, I'll tell you that much.
I blame Ben-Hur.
I'd blame that movie for a lot of things. Anyways, here's the plot. They are the best kept secret in the universe, working for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency. K, Tommy Lee Jones, and J, Will Smith, are the Men in Black, providers of immigration services and regulators of all things alien on Earth. While investigating a series of unregistered close encounters, the MIB agents uncover a deadly plot of an intergalactic terrorist who is on a mission to assassinate two ambassadors from opposing galaxies currently in residence in New York City. This is directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, starring Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, Linda Florentino, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Rip Torn. Bruce, this has, like I said, kind of at the top of the show, this is a comic book movie that not a lot of people know is an actual comic book movie. I feel you might have some info on us.
Yes, like you said, this is one of those movies that not everyone realizes is a comic book adaptation. But the opening credits state that it's based on a Marvel comic, which gets a chuckle out of me. The reason is the comic it's based on, The Men in Black, was created and written by Lowell Cunningham in 1990. It was originally published by Aircell Comics, which were obtained by Malibu Comics that were in turn obtained by Marvel. So it's only a Marvel comic by way of a chain of intellectual property rights.
Third hand.
Yes. For some reason, the comics are out of print now. But scouring the used books on Amazon, I found a hardcover for $30, a paperback for $99, and an audio cassette tape version for $4. Wow. I assume that one was made for Star-Lord. Now, a viewing of some of the covers led me to say, yup, this was a 90s comic. In the comic, the Men in Black is an international espionage organization which monitors and investigates both good and evil paranormal activity on Earth, including alien life, demons, mutants, zombies, werewolves, legendary creatures, vampires. You get it. I think it's cool that they were involved in more than just aliens because that allows for infinitely more stories to tell. Yeah. However, it led to the comic running for a whopping 6 issues, if you don't count the movie adaptation comics that Marvel made. Now, the comics were much darker in tone than this movie is. In the comics, it's discovered that the truth behind the Men in Black is that they seek to manipulate and reshape the world in their own image by keeping the supernatural hidden. Cunningham, the writer, acknowledged that Men in Black's roots lie in the tales of government agents sent to suppress UFO sightings, but explains that he decided to expand the series beyond dealing with aliens because, and I quote, "I thought UFOs every issue might get boring after a while," end quote. Yeah, who could possibly maintain interest in aliens for 6 issues, Adam?
Don't know. 9 years of the X-Files. Well, 10 now.
Now, the second issue features a visitation by an alien insectoid creature to a farmer and his wife. However, the bug does not prove to pose quite the threat that Vincent D'Onofrio poses in the film. In the comics, Jay is very different from the Fresh Prince. First off, he's a white guy, and he's not an NYPD officer, but rather a DEA agent. Think more like Hank from Breaking Bad. Now, the Agent J of the comics is kidnapped against his will by Agent K during an undercover drug sting and is then basically extorted into serving the Men in Black against his will. This should serve as a clue that Agent K in the comics is a lot nastier than his big screen counterpart. K displays a disregard for human life and seems to get a sadistic joy from the suffering of others. Lowell Cunningham himself had this to say about the character. K likes the power of his position, and as the saying goes, power corrupts. And I kind of feel like Cunningham left a couple of words out of that saying the way that I know it, but I'll go with it. Now, there's a clear sense throughout the Men in Black comics that Jay cannot trust Kay at all, as Kay continually keeps secrets from him and makes morally questionable decisions. For Kay's part, he sees Jay as completely expendable and not worth much more than someone to serve as bait when necessary. Agent Zed, who's portrayed in the movie by Rip Torn, is only heard over communication systems in the comics, and he's never seen. And the comics also kind of hint that he may be something other than human. In the comics, the agents rarely use special space weapons, generally relying on regular old guns, which makes sense because for the most part, they kill regular old people. Now, this all makes sense in a product of the 90s comic culture of extremely violent one-upsmanship, but for a big-budget PG-13 movie starring the guy that effectively communicated the lack of understanding on the part of parents to the masses, I can understand why they softened the tone and inserted comedy. But my question is, will the Men in Black reboot currently stuck in perpetual pre-production be a dark and gritty R-rated action drama? What do you think?
I want it to not exist. I think anyone ever always coming out and going, no, this is that's the idea, for those of you that don't know, is that they were going to combine two Sony products, because this is a Sony picture, two Sony products of Men in Black, which, has been dormant for a little while at this point, and 21 Jump Street.
Yeah,
they were like, hey, man, so we're going to pair these two up as a thing.
And I imagine, I haven't seen the script, but I imagine it's just Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill get recruited to Men in Black. I would imagine that's all there is to it. I don't think we're going to see any J and K.
Well, I don't know. It's the worst idea ever. It's one of those where I'm just like, yeah, man, that's hilarious. No. You mean you're going to do that for reals? Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
And also in my research, I ran across the fact that there's a 1934 Three Stooges film called Men in Black. And I'm sure it's nothing like this, but imagine how awesome it would be if the Three Stooges essentially starred in this movie. Mo would obviously be Agent K, the Tommy Lee Jones character. Mm-hmm. Curly would be Jay, and then Larry would be the Bug, Vincent D'Onofrio's character. I can see it right now. I wish they had done that.
Oh, man. They can do it. Did you see the Farrelly Brothers Three Stooges movie? For what it's supposed to be, it ain't bad.
Maybe we ought to call the Farrelly Brothers up and get them to work with the MIB 23 crew.
Okay, I'm back on board with this film now. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I was just like, this is the worst idea ever. You've actually got me to just go, maybe.
I'd pay 1934 ticket prices to see that.
Because I'll be honest, back here in 1997, when they said, okay, Barry Sonnenfeld, the guy who did Get Shorty and stuff, is going to do this comic book movie and stuff, it's like, oh, shoot, well, I like that guy. He's done some good stuff at this point. And now he just released 9 Lives this year, of which if you didn't see, then you're probably one of the luckiest people on the face of this earth. I didn't see it because I got more brains in my skull, and on the Film Find, we watch everything, and even I wouldn't watch that crap.
And, just to give some perspective to my opinion of Barry Sonnenfeld, I remember him as the Addams Family Values director.
Yeah, that too. There you go. I mean, the guy had a pretty good track record and stuff. So they're like, hey, this guy's going to do this one. I was like, shoot, yeah, man, okay. Right on.
Yeah, I think they actually delayed production of this movie 2 years so that he could finish working on whatever he was working on at the time and come do this.
That's impressive. So
yeah,
can't beat that. But yeah, man. So back in 1997, like we kind of said earlier in the show, Will Smith was kind of on a tear at this point.
Yeah, I think this was like the trifecta that put a nail into it. The first time could have been a fluke. The second time was a coincidence, but this third time proved that he was infallible until the following summer came around.
Yeah, but then they're just like, well, I mean, here's the thing. Even as bad as Wild Wild West did, it did okay for what it was. But again, it was all because of Will Smith. Will Smith just sold a movie.
And also when you cast Will Smith, you didn't just get an actor, you got a theme song out of the guy.
I mean, come on, who does that?
I kind of hate it that he stopped doing that because I think I would have went to see Concussion if it had a Will Smith theme song.
Ooh, and he did it in the African voice and everything. I would.
Yeah, it would kind of be like Under Pressure, or I guess as some folks know it, the Ice Ice Baby, but it could just be you got concussion, do 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 do. That would work perfectly.
Terrible. You've come up with some bad ideas. I think you've now just hit the nail on the head for the biggest one. And I'll say this, man, Tommy Lee Jones in 1997. It looks like because I've seen many a Tommy Lee Jones film since then. Tommy Lee Jones in 1997 looks like he gives a crap.
Man, that's kind of what I was thinking. I watched this and I thought, I don't remember him being this good. This guy's actually a lot of fun.
He's really killing it, man. But
what happened, man? Was that neuralizer did something to him?
He must have looked into it himself, dude, because, I just saw him in the recent Bourne movie. He looks like somebody's holding a gun to his back. Just going, oh, God, I'll say the lines. Just make sure I got a paycheck, okay?
And, going back a little further, he really stole the movie in The Fugitive. And then I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was sometime around when he played Two-Face that he just gave up on caring. I mean, who could care about anything after that movie?
Yeah, he probably got to a point where he's just like, okay, so I'm just I'm a paycheck actor now. But he's done other good things. But, man, it's just like you got your No Country for Old Men. So there's every now and then if you get the right Helmer behind everything, it's okay. But
Tommy Lee Jones was in No Country for Old Men?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that, man. I thought it was the guy that played the Rockford Files. James Garner, man. I'm thinking of The Notebook now. That's what James Garner was in. I always get those two movies confused. They're so similar.
They're almost exactly alike.
Oh, man. But James Brolin looked a lot younger than Tommy Lee Jones in that movie.
Well, that's why he would then go on to later play Tommy Lee Jones in these dumb movies.
Yeah.
So why not, right?
Oh, man. But, yeah, man, Will Smith and the theme songs and the big opening and Will Smith has become such a different person now than he was in 97. And I watched this and I realized, man, this is still the Fresh Prince. I mean, this is exactly how he probably looked in the season finale of Fresh Prince, which was probably only about 2 years before this movie, if I'm going to guess.
Right. This is still young Will Smith. This is still Will Smith also kind of has to keep his 90s street cred, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of stuff that Will Smith just brought to this role that probably wasn't written specifically right out, I guess.
Yeah, man. He now currently famously has his own sort of ghostwriters that punch up scripts just for him. This might have been when some of that got started because stuff feels very much like Will Smith inserted it himself. It feels, once again, straight from, like it came straight from Uncle Phil's mansion.
And some of the fashions do, boy. When he starts out, so he plays, like we said,
please tell me that there's some stylist that was horribly overpaid to play that practical joke on Mr. Smith.
If IMDb worked, I could tell you who the costume designer was, but it doesn't. So nothing I could do there. But yeah, there is I don't know what New York undercover cop or otherwise is allowed to dress as this man is dressing in. What? I don't even know.
Yeah, that opening, well, it's not the opening scene, but it's our introduction to Will Smith's character, and he's wearing the oversized football jersey, which is pretty par for the course in 97.
Yeah.
Doesn't, I expect it should say the Jets or the Giants or something on it, and it doesn't, which was kind of weird to me. But then it looks like he forgot to bring his pants to work, so he went over to the jailer and just got an inmate's jumpsuit and put it on for pants and tied it around his waist.
Or just bought some orange ski pants or something.
But they're not ski pants, man. There are sleeves tied around his waist. That's an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, it does look like he just kind of came off of The Fugitive.
And I kept expecting some kind of backstory. Why is he wearing that? Was he posing as a criminal for some kind of sting operation or something? But it's the filmmakers just assume that we're all comfortable with people running around the street in orange jumpsuits.
Then we have at least two scenes within the film that just go, no, this is just this guy's awful fashion sense.
Yeah, there's also that rocking the black and yellow back before Wiz Khalifa could even speak, man, with those clown pants he had on later on. And
he may have been all of 4 years old when this movie came out.
And I've got a theory, man, about why Will Smith looks this way.
Okay.
Because how old was he when he won his Grammy? I'm thinking 15.
Oh, probably not that young.
Parents Don't Understand was 86 or 87, man. I'm thinking it was way back there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know Will Smith's Grammy history as well as I should, I guess.
But anyway, so I'm thinking he got super famous when he's 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets the state of Arrested Development because the goofy stuff, apparently he won his Grammy in 89. So he's still pretty young in 89.
Okay.
So, if you're 17 even, I think you dress goofy. You expect that out of a 17-year-old, especially a 17-year-old at the end of the 80s, man. Think about it. This is when hammer pants were a thing that even I wore to school on occasion. So, but he gets super famous. Suddenly he's surrounded by yes men. He gets in the state of Arrested Development. So, like nearly 10 years later when he's 25 and he should know that you don't dress like Ronald McDonald when you're a cop, nobody can say no to the man.
Yeah. Look, sometimes you do get to a point in your career where it's just like, oh, well, that's the guy who we just have to say yes to because, like you said, Big Willy Weekends, man. Will Smith would open up, boom, your movie would be #1 at the box office.
And then also when I see him running in that orange jumpsuit, I picture, so this is when Deadshot escapes from Bel Rev the first time.
Ooh,
because that's because
cool.
he had the orange jumpsuit on all in Bel Rev. I wonder if he still has that same jumpsuit. Maybe that was an in joke.
Heck no, man. He's too beefy now.
Yeah, he grew into his ears.
Because what's crazy though, because you can look at this, they try to put these big giant clothes on him to make him look like much more of a bigger dude than he is. Because when he gets in that suit, I was like, oh, there's a skinny kid under there.
Oh man, that's funny. He walks out and he goes, "The difference between you and me is I make this look good." Now, objectively speaking, I don't think Will Smith makes it look good. I'll be honest. He looks like a guy who borrowed his dad's suit in high school to go to a banquet. It's a little big on him. I'm saying it doesn't look so good on him.
This was a big enough movie, but at the time, I'm going to say this. I think suits in kind of the late 90s were generally badly tailored.
Yeah, I think this was off the rack, man.
Yeah.
I think this was definitely off the rack black suit. But
Tommy Lee Jones looked to fit in his just fine though.
Yeah, but he's a regular sized person. We're still dealing with kind of a skinny Will Smith here. Just another funny aside. When I was watching this, I was watching it out in the garage for whatever reason. One of my kids
that's where you've been
out.
exiled.
One of my kids walk out and they're watching a little bit of it with me. They go, "That guy sounds like Deadshot." And I said, "Well, that is Deadshot." "Well, why does he look so funny?" And I said, "That's just because how he used to look."
"Daddy, does Deadshot have cancer?"
I love that. That's a meme you need to put up. "Daddy, does Deadshot have cancer? His beard fell out and he's skinny."
Oh, look at him. He's always withering away. Well, he's going to die. I hope he gets an Oscar for that.
And I asked you off the air, man, have you ever heard any rumors about Will Smith getting his ears pinned or some kind of cosmetic surgery on his ears? Because those things are catching a breeze in this movie.
That was one of the fun things about him back in the day. And the nice part is he would always he leaned into it too. I mean, there's a great joke in Bad Boys about how Martin Lawrence yells at him and says your head looks like the back of a cab with its back two doors open or whatever.
And he worked that into the old Fresh Prince of Bel-Air a few times too. Whenever people would make fun of Will, one of the first things they would go for were his ears.
I'd say, look, man, you got to step in front of those freight trains before they hit you.
Yeah.
Make sure it just hits you in ahead of time. Just go, planned on that one. That's what happened there.
Queen Latifah gave him a sick burn about his ears on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Queen Latifah.
Back when she was still the princess of the posse.
You guys did not know you were going to get a lesson in Bruce's street cred this week, were you?
Oh, yeah, man. I know some LL Cool J stuff, too, but that doesn't come up till later.
Mama said knock you out. So here's what I forgot about this movie. Will, of all the things, I'm just sitting there going, okay, beforehand, I'm going, what do I remember about Men in Black? I'm like, okay, Tommy Lee Jones was fun. Will Smith was good. Rip Torn's just doing what Rip Torn is. I forgot how much Vincent D'Onofrio is in this movie. I just kind of remembered, obviously, the beginning stuff. And for some reason, I just did not continually connect him throughout the rest of this film because he does such a good job.
Tell me about it, man. This guy is a treasure. This is Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about some range. Could you believe this is Kingpin and the way he's sort of walking around in a spastic manner and kind of pulling the skin back on his face and everything? This guy is amazing. He definitely turned in the best performance in this movie, either him or the pug. But he's a lot of fun, man, and he always does good stuff, but it seems like he's just not quite that level of household name he ought to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of roles that he can really just disappear into, and even around this time, you've got The Cell, which is something that's wildly different than anything else that he's done. He has a couple of roles where it's just we can't really. It's tough to kind of pigeonhole you, and then all the way up to Kingpin, and then he follows that right up with Jurassic World.
And I got to tell you,
vastly different things.
D'Onofrio does a great job in this movie, but I'm a fan of Chubby D'Onofrio.
Oh yeah, I think Chubby D'Onofrio is the best D'Onofrio if we're honest with ourselves.
And I mean, I could just picture like D'Onofrio, the way he looks and the performance he gives as Kingpin, letting that D'Onofrio star in a modern remake of Apocalypse Now. You know, he's the Marlon Brando role.
And he probably wouldn't ham it up as bad.
I think he'd do a better job than Brando.
It's probably not. That's not bad. That's
and
not
you know
bad.
what? Just go ahead. Is Martin Sheen still alive?
Yeah, Martin Sheen's still alive.
Just let him play his same role because it won't matter. It's all about D'Onofrio.
Colonel Kurtz, you're scant 30 years younger than me.
Or we could give it to Emilio. He's only a couple years older than Vincent D'Onofrio.
There you go. That works out well enough. Emilio, come on now. When's the last time Emilio's been in, well, anything?
Mighty Ducks 3, I think.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I like the. I gotta say, thinking about this movie, like I hadn't seen it since I was, probably at least 10 years, maybe something like that. It's been quite some time. But the big thing to me is like this movie is such a. It's like 50-50. You have half of it is done solely on sets. Just very recognizable sets, and then the rest is like very location, and these are both indoor and outdoor locations. So there's some outdoor stuff that is clearly a set or a back lot, and then there's like the real street stuff, and then there's like when they pull over the guy that they're trying to find why he's leaving Manhattan or whatever, where there's clearly just a horrible matte painting in the background.
But some of that stuff I can go with because this movie has kind of an old throwback sci-fi feel to it. Mm-hmm. Just sort of the way that the flying saucers look and the way that the space guns look. It kind of feels like those comics from that dark age between the golden and silver age when there were a lot of sci-fi comics out in the 50s and stuff like that. And I can kind of go with some of those clearly sets, clearly sound stages, because like when the flying saucer that crashes down is only slightly bigger than your average coffee table, it's just fun. It works for me. I can go with the very throwback to the early days of science fiction with this.
Yeah, and you look at that thing that, you look at that craft and everything, you're like, how's Vincent D'Onofrio fit inside of that? That's a big
Cockroaches can squish up real good.
I guess. I don't know. I'm just looking at him. I was just like, how's he's supposed to fly out in that thing? How's that work? Weird.
What'd you think about all the cockroaches in this movie, man? They made good use of those Malagasy hissing cockroaches, the largest roaches known to man.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Those are creepy no matter what you do. And
when I first met my wife back in Nashville, I went over to see her. We both worked on Vanderbilt's campus, and I went over to the lab that she worked in to see her for the first time at work. And she was feeding their supply of Malagasy hissing cockroaches when I came in to meet her. So that's a sign of true love right there, man. Cockroaches.
Yeah. And she said, this one's named Norman. Love him. And then you did.
I told her I spent 3 months in Madagascar, never saw a single hissing cockroach. I come to Nashville, and now I see like a tub with 1,000 of them.
And then she made you eat them and like screamed at you like Joe Rogan. Come on, you can do this!
Fear is a factor. Fear is a factor.
He quits. But I gotta say, I was really shocked at how much I still like this, and I think it still holds up. There's a lot of, though I will say this. There's a lot of this stuff outside of just Will Smith's wardrobe that is still just very, very 90s.
Yeah, especially when we get to the end, I'll mention some of that, man. But I will say something I think that's beautiful about this movie is, there are consequences. The plot is for the fate of the world, but it's kind of a simple plot. There's one alien, the Bug, that they've got to stop is what it boils down to. And the Bug is an imposing enough villain, but it seems like now with movies that the villain has to be the most, the odds against the heroes have to be so ridiculously insurmountable. It's like they keep trying to find a way to make it an even longer shot. Mm-hmm. And I like this, that, if they mess up, the world's going to get blown up. But all they've got to do is kill this one scary monster. You know what I mean? Slay the dragon, save the princess, everything's fine. And sometimes I think that's the problem with movies like the recent Suicide Squad with Will Smith, is I feel like they try too hard to make the villain someone that seems impossible to defeat, Mm-hmm. Just give us some people killing a bug and wisecracking along the way. I'd be happy.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the stakes are really, really big, but it's like just an intimate kind of thing.
It's like if you forget to put this letter in the mailbox in the morning, somebody's going to come and repossess your car. And of course, after my car's gone, I realized that would have been an easy problem to solve. Why didn't I do it? But I like that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's well enough, and it also kind of still follows their sort of like, hey, we're under the radar kind of thing. We don't need this to look like every other comic book movie that we see nowadays with a blue beam shooting into the sky.
Yeah.
We can actually just, there's a small level thing. We get to hand people that are doing it, neuralize the crap out of them, and then they're done.
And I also, there were a lot of little nice touches in the movie here that they're not part of the government. Suddenly they make that clear that they're actually independently funded by, what did they say, patents on microwaves and Velcro or something like that, alien technology they got?
It's alien technology that they just kind of go through. Basically, they're like, hey, man, we're the ones who do microwaving and, Reeboks with Velcro on them. So that's why we can fund all of this.
And then there's also another nice part, talking about like their big consequences, but it's a simple story. Well, Agent K, Tommy Lee Jones's character, makes it kind of clear. The bug is running down the street in public, and Will Smith uses his noisy cricket, which, by the way, is a nickname I've borrowed. I won't go into any more detail than that. But Will Smith uses his noisy cricket to fire where the public can see it. And Tommy Lee Jones says, you can't do that. We got to keep these people from knowing the aliens are here. And Will Smith mentions, well, the world is going to be destroyed in 24 hours if we don't stop this guy. And Tommy Lee Jones just looks him in the eye and says, you don't get it. The world is going to be destroyed every single day. This is just like delivering the milk is to the milkman. And the only thing that makes life worth living is that these people think they're safe. Do you want everybody living knowing that this could be the last day of the earth every single day of their life? I thought that was a nice point and a good way to put it in perspective, and also a good way to explain as many as 2 other sequels if they want to make them.
Exactly. But that was a nice part, is that it's like, hey, look, there are stakes to this thing and everything. They're big, but it's also just another day at the office.
Now, what did you think about the medical examiner? I think her name's Laurel, played by Linda Fiorino. Is that her name?
Florentino, but yeah.
Florentino. What do you think of her character, that actress? I'm going to tell you, I'm not a fan of that actress.
I'm a fan of her. I'm not a fan of this character because the character's pretty meaningless. I like her well enough in things, but this is just like... And she's got a cute spunkiness to her and everything, but her character's pretty limited as to she's not written super well.
To me, she's like a less famous version of Kathleen Turner, where it's like that husky voice with a certain affectation equals sexiness or something. Like there's just, she's in the morgue talking about corpses, and she still says this examination is very interesting. There's something about her delivery that didn't work for this character. I could use somebody who was like a mess. She's got like 2 pencils stuck in her hair. It's obvious that she doesn't wear makeup. Her clothes don't match. That's what a medical examiner's like.
I think
that would have made her more fun.
I did find it wildly confusing that someone who worked in the medical examiner's office would be wearing such a short skirt into work.
And not only a short skirt, but that thing looked like Chanel, like she's wearing a $1,000 piece to do autopsies.
And then when
a good choice.
And then when she does all the things, Linda Florentino is too pretty, so we can't put a mask over her face while she's doing any of these autopsies. Just let her she's basically going in there just raw facing it, man. Just going, hey, I'm just
raw facing it. That's a term I like. Yeah, I should have been a pathologist.
Just sticking it all up in there going, hey, who gives a crap about what's going on up in here? I'm barely putting on gloves, I'm just I just like to get in there and swipe the guts off my Chanel suit.
It may not be fair of me to put all the blame on Florentino, but she just seems to have everything too well put together. She's too much like a prop than she is a real character in a lot of these scenes.
Yeah, and with the ending, I was just like, and one thing that I guess I've forgotten about this, maybe getting a little bit ahead, but I didn't realize that it's kind of like Lethal Weapon. Tommy Lee Jones has been getting too old for this from day number 1.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, I forgot about that element. And now it's just like he was 1 foot out the door already with this series by the end of the first movie.
This is totally different because it's about an old white guy and a young African-American guy. See, Lethal Weapon was absolutely the opposite of that.
That's true. We just throw a little sci-fi spin on. You know what? Come to think of it, all this is Lethal Weapon. What
Lethal
a bunch
Weapon
of
with
crap.
The talking bug.
Oh, man, you had a talking dog into Lethal Weapon. You got the same movie, buddy.
What'd you think of Tony Shalhoub? I'm sure you're a big fan of the Shalhoubinator. What do we call him? The Shalubricator?
Shalubricator. Leaving that one alone. But no, look, Tony Shalhoub, I love the kind of, and maybe you can answer this, and I don't know if this would fall under your purview or not, but is it like a prosthetic eye they're putting in there? How do they, I mean, I don't know Hollywood makeup.
The crooked eye?
Yeah.
I think it might have been CGI, man. A prosthetic would be tough to put in, and they could have, but that means he probably couldn't see anything out of the eye that had it in. I think
that never stopped
CGI
nobody
would
before.
probably be easier, but no, people don't have voluntary control like that. At least normal people don't. And Tony Shalhoub's not exactly normal, so who knows?
Hey, he is a Superman amongst men, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's called an exotropia that he's sporting there.
Man, take that one home with you, kids. Bring it up at dinner parties and watch people just wow over how smart and sexy you are just by knowing Zootopia.
And I love the tension there when Agent K, I get K and J confused sometimes, but Tommy Lee Jones, when he's getting ready to blow Shalhoub's head off, and then Will Smith, he's still a cop. He doesn't quite buy into this alien stuff yet, but I think he should by now. You know what I mean?
There's several times in this movie where it's just like, I have to be told again. He did get neuralized that night. Fair, all things being equal.
And do you think that was necessary? I mean, if you're just going to call him in the next day, why don't you just take him in then instead of neuralizing him and sending him home?
That is very confusing as to why they did that, or maybe they could have just given like some sort of other sort of explanation, like, hey, you're only going to forget these things, but you're going to come to this location tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like all of a sudden, like, it's just like, well, I'm going to make you forget everything. By the way, here's this card. Come to here. What incentive does he have to come there at that point, unless that suggestion is so ingrained that it makes him do it?
Then you've got to convince him all over again that aliens are real. You know what I mean? After he's seen the guy get his head blown off and grow it back Deadpool style, you don't have to do any convincing. I say you take him straight to Rip Torn, the only man who gets so drunk he breaks into banks and doesn't take money. Take him straight to Rip Torn then and start the training.
Let me tell you something, kid.
Now, what did you think, man? I had a lot of fun with like the tryouts or whatever you want to call this audition process.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun, and I like it. It is this kind of...
like even those egg-shaped chairs are kind of a throwback to the 60s, right?
I say that's a whole 60s kind of thing, a whole like bit of Get Smart kind of.
Yeah, and then everybody's there fumbling. They gave him the most uncomfortable, least practical test-taking chairs in history. And then I like it that, Will has two options: move the chair or move the table. And I'm going to say I would kind of like, I admire him for figuring it out. But I kind of take a point off because he didn't just move his chair over to the table. Instead, just dragging that table with impossibly loud dragging noises.
Just scraping on the floor hardcore. I love it.
That sounded good in Dolby Digital.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know what it was watching. The thing, I don't know what was happening here, but the wild volume on my surround sound was all over the place.
Man,
I had to turn some of this down and go, my neighbors have got to be like screaming at me at this point.
I watched it on a tiny little garage TV, so I had to jack the volume all the way up to hear most of the movie. Then this part happens, and the next thing I know, the neighbors were coming to check on us.
Is everything okay? Did someone kill a cat? No, it's just Will Smith moving a coffee table in Men in Black. Oh, fair enough.
I told you that's what it sounded like. Shut up, Herbert. And then the shootout, where they have to go shoot at like these fake targets of aliens, man. That was a lot of fun, too. I thought it was clever how they dealt with it.
Yeah, exactly. And make him look like the schlub. And then, like, I still love it. Also, at the same time, it's like he probably could have just been talking out of his butt the entire time.
Yeah.
Because it's just all like, hey, man, my gift is to improv enough on my feet in order for you to just be like, hey, get off my back, buddy.
Yeah, I like it. This guy, he's just working out. He's not bothering anybody. This guy over here, look, he's got to go to the bathroom. But that little girl, she had a quantum physics book. Heaven forbid her dad's a professor and was asking her to carry it up to the apartment out of his car for him, She got
something going on. Well, she wasn't scared either. I guess that was also the other big thing. It's like she's not scared and she's holding around a quantum physics book. That girl's up to no good.
Maybe her dad runs the alien tenement and she knows all these guys.
That's Richard. He gets upset on Thursdays. We just let it happen.
Now, let's talk about sort of this, I I think you could call it a MacGuffin to move this story forward because, you know, it's the Men in Black against the Bug, but we have to have a reason for the Men in Black to care about the Bug. So they introduced this race of cute little tiny aliens that have a tiny galaxy in a marble. And at the morgue, you know, it reveals that the galaxy is in Orion's belt, and this leads them off kind of to a weird misdirection. But I don't think anybody in the audience is supposed to be, like, fooled by this, right? Like, we're all yelling at him, hey, dummy, what about the cat? Because that camera pans in on that cat's little neck bobble no less than 7 times before this comes
I don't
out.
know. I'll be honest, as a kid, I didn't know. I mean, I say kid, I was probably like 16, but nevertheless, I was a lot dumber then. But I don't think I got it till a bit later, and I was like, oh, snap, that was kind of crazy. But I will say this. I don't remember, I didn't remember this movie ending on the whimper that it does.
You think it ends on a whimper?
Outside of, like, the second that, you know, they flash Tommy Lee Jones there, and then Linda Florentino's in the car and just going like, hey, we got to get back to the other place. And I'm like, nah, man.
Oh, you're
like,
talking about that ending. I thought you meant like the face-off with the Bug. But, yeah, that little
that
that's the sort of thing that would have been post-credits or mid-credits nowadays.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it too seriously.
No, the fight with the Bug was fun. It was fun enough. I mean, it looked like, here's the thing. For the most part, the CGI looks pretty decent in this. Not amazing. There are a couple times where it's just like a little shoddy, but it's not bad. I mean, and I know if I'm not
still better than the last Starfighter CGI.
Well, not much that's not there. I'm sorry. If you really like that movie, you're an odd duck because that movie's not good. I know some of you guys out there, you think, oh, I watched this as a kid and I really liked it. It's not that good.
Yeah, it's no Flight of the Navigator.
No, that's a good movie.
Now, you know, we kind of get an update to the sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in the 90s, people saw things differently. It's impossible for my brain to fully recollect how I felt seeing that in the 90s. But I think those sunglasses are a downgrade. I know they're supposed to be showing Will Smith infusing a little, like, hipness into the Men in Black. But I think he looks goofy with that, like, Nehru collar jacket and no tie anymore. And then he's got those little skinny Matrix sunglasses. I mean, maybe I'm thinking of Trinity there when the lady who's now Agent L puts those sunglasses on. But maybe there was a little influence from that. But they dropped it in the sequels, right? They go back to
the original looking Ray-Bans.
Yeah, with good sense, they go back to the good costume.
Well, those look good, man. You're right. The other ones do look pretty darn terrible.
Yeah, the follow-up ones. And I guess I liked Linda Florentino becoming Agent L. I don't know. I don't remember the sequels at all. Is she around in the sequels?
I forget. Like I said,
I feel like she just disappears after this scene, you know?
Maybe.
But the big showdown with the Bug is fun.
Yeah, it's fun enough. It looks really good. And one of the things that I really liked in this is that there's still always a bit of humor, and it wouldn't happen these days, I don't think. But Will Smith was also still at a point in his career where he could really easily make fun of himself.
Yeah.
Because his kind of like, his big standing up in front of this Bug, you're going to have to go through me, and just a little, just knocks him right off the side, is so good. I don't know that Will Smith in 2016 would allow that to happen.
And I'll tell you what, even better to me is when Tommy Lee Jones, his plan to save today is to get eaten by the Bug. I really like that idea of a plan. Then we see him smushing around in all that goo in the Bug's belly, looking for the laser guns that the Bug had eaten, and he finds the big atomizer that he uses and blows the Bug in half. But I guess you cut a cockroach in half, it doesn't kill it. You know, you have to shoot it in the head with the noisy cricket. So Linda Florentino saves the day, which was a nice way to make her the hero, I guess.
Yeah, but because the character so deserved it at that point.
The characters, I mean, if they hadn't made her the hero, then I would be complaining the character served no purpose. At least now she serves a purpose.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Deus Ex Machina and Linda Florentino. Whoopee. Those were all the kids were looking for.
You know, I guess those in Flushing, they really have those things, those big moon pies on a stick there that turn into flying saucers in this movie. I guess that's a real landmark. If I ever go back to New York, I'm taking a black suit and some Ray-Bans and getting a picture in front of those things.
Heck yeah. I want to go to the Captain America statue, though. I ain't going front.
Oh, there's a Captain America statue?
Yeah, they just put a Captain America statue in Brooklyn.
Well, that makes sense. That's Stevie's hometown.
Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, dude, I was so upset. I was just like, man, couldn't they have like done this like 4 months earlier when I was there? It would have been so cool.
I took my picture with the giant Superman statue in Metropolis, Illinois, and I got to tell you, shoddy workmanship. Not a great statue.
The one in Kentucky looks nice.
There's a Superman one in Kentucky?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
I think there's a Metropolis, Kentucky. I think my grandparents used to live around thereabouts.
Well, Metropolis, Illinois is right on the Kentucky line, so we may be talking about the same statue.
It may be. I don't know. I've only seen pictures, so I can't really speak to the in-person authenticity of said statues. So who's to say?
Now, what they do have, now I'm talking about their big giant Superman statue. What they do have is a really nice statue of the actress that played Lois Lane in the old TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That one's pretty cool. It's just like a normal size one.
It's better than that Lucy one that they had to get rid of.
Yeah, a little bit. That Lucy one will be good on Halloween, though.
Oh my gosh, that looked like Linda Blair, like post possession.
It looked like Lucy if she'd been drawn in season 1 of The Simpsons.
Was she on fire when we did this? What was going on? Was Lucille Ball on fire? Okay, that's why you did. Okay, that makes sense. She's melting. Gross. So let's get down to it before we get to the old kind of review here and everything, breaking it all down. We got to get to one of the most important parts of this show we got here, and that's how this movie relates back to our good friend Sylvester Stallone. And I have I had a prepared statement, Bruce.
Yes.
Bruce, when I started writing the Stallone connection this week, I was just like, okay, this is going to be, I think this should be okay. I didn't feel like, there's enough big stars in this. Enough people have dealt with the old, Italian stallion enough to where this should be simple. And boom, right off the bat, I got it. Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio is in the gone to in the H&P world of, what's the name of the prison movie? No Escape. I almost forgot the name of it.
No Escape.
Because nobody watched it. So he was in that movie. But, man, I tell you, when I started watching the movie, I'm like, well, I'm throwing this out. Because guess what, kids? On the screen in Men in Black is the Italian stallion himself, the cure for what ails you, Sylvester Stallone. He is all up on the screen. He's pretty much an alien. So,
yeah,
right?
Man. One of the best cameos ever.
He's just sitting on the screen. It's like, hey, there's a lot of aliens and stuff that go around, and there's pictures of this person, that person, the other one. But the one that kind of pops out to you the most is Stallone. And man, I had to pause it, rewind it, and they showed it twice. So it's definitely Stallone, and it is absolutely awesome. So Vincent D'Onofrio or Sylvester Stallone as a 1-to-1. That is your Stallone connection for this week. So Little Cricket, let's go ahead and rate this bad boy.
I thought this movie was fun, man. And it was, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it more than I expected to. It'd been a while since I'd seen it, and I kind of thought maybe it was a little cheesy. Maybe I underestimated just how good it is, and maybe it's benefited from some more current movies that just try to tackle too much and don't just tell a simple story that's fun. And this is a simple story, and it's fun, and I love. This is when Tommy Lee Jones was still good. This is when Will Smith was still the Fresh Prince and not Mr. Jada Pinkett yet. And I'm going to give this to Tim Drake. I think it'll be a hard labor to find somebody who doesn't get some enjoyment out of this.
Yeah. I forgot to tell a little story, and I'm going to bring that into my review.
Is it all about how your life got flipped, turned upside down?
Oh, snap. I didn't even think of that. Look at you. Look at you going over with the references. But no, so I graduated film school, and I went to school in Orlando, and our graduation was at Universal Studios. And so we were free for that day. My brother was in town for the graduation and everything. And so he and I just spent the day at Universal. Cool. And we went on the Men in Black ride, which up until this point, we had never really rode before. So it's like March, so no one's there, right? Summer hasn't kicked off yet, so we are just flying through lines, boy. So we go up to the Men in Black line, and here's the thing. The Men in Black is not just a ride. It's also kind of a game.
I have ridden it many times, man. I love that ride.
And here's the thing. Because when you go to the place and stuff, you'll stand in the line, and there's all the TVs and stuff while you're waiting in the queue and everything, and they all tell you what you're doing. They kind of give you an idea as to, hey, here's what the point of all this crap is. Then when you get there, you pick up the gun that's in your little cart, and you shoot all the monsters as your cart kind of flies around the little room there, and you're passing off, and you're having a competition with the other team. We didn't know there was a competition that was going on. So
we're just riding.
We're just riding, and we got these little guns. We're just shooting stuff, everything in sight. And so my brother and I are in the front 2 seats. So there's 4 seats in all per little pod thing, right? So my brother and I are sitting in the front, and this, what we would later find out was kind of like just an older gentleman, probably somewhere in his 40s, and a girl probably like, 10 to 12-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. So my brother and I, we're just shooting around there. We don't know what we're supposed to be shooting at. We're just shooting at everything, smiling and just doing our stuff. When we get to finish with the ride, we never really bought any of those souvenir pictures, but we'd go and look at the pictures to see, hey, let's see what we look like idiots, playing this dumb game. We look and like there we are, just kind of like shooting and laughing and just doing, we don't know what the heck we're doing here, but it's fun. We look back in the seat behind us, and this old timer and this little girl, it looked like this had been like set up, like it was some sort of like punishment for somebody, because neither one of them were smiling. Neither one of them even had drawn the little light gun out of their thing.
They were just sitting there.
They're sitting there basically with their arms crossed in a look of, why, God, why? It was just like we had a bigger time just laughing at the fact that, like, hey, no wonder we lost that game. These jackasses are back here just sitting down doing nothing, and we're over here just shooting everything. Going, we don't even know how to play this game. Shoot, and it was so bad. But that was just one of the funniest times I ever had with that. And that's a really good ride to to see all the that's a good waiting in line ride.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was going to comment on, because waiting in line's half the fun of that ride, because they have don't they have like a duplication of the coffee station with the little salamander-looking aliens by it and stuff
There's
like
all that kind of stuff that's down in there. They have the whole pit where you walk into the MIB, and there's the big screen and all that. It's really, really well done, and it's like that's what kind of bums me out. It's like that we didn't really get to see all that proper the first time doing it. So, but I've done it since then. But I just thought I had to forgot about that story. I wanted to put that in there.
Here's the question: when it was your graduation day, did they make you pay full admission to the park to graduate?
Oh no, not to that one.
Okay, just checking.
We did later. It was kind of like one of those things. It was like offsite, onsite kind of things, where it was like there, but not really in the park. We weren't like down by the Hulk ride. Congratulations, send them off.
Like that time I saw Weird Al in concert at Carowinds. You didn't actually get to go into Carowinds.
Yeah, that's how I got to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But we went to see. That's right. But and the Coming Out of Your Shells tour. But then we actually went to Carowinds, so the day actually did end up going well.
Good.
But. No, man, so it made me think back to this, and this movie is very, very solid. It's not the greatest, like I said. It does have a lot of like late 90s qualities to it that you'll see some things in there, and you're just like, whew, this is bad. And, just some very untimely references with like Dennis Rodman. Well, that's not a very good disguise. Kind of just real some corny type stuff in there. But for the most part, it holds up pretty darn well. I believe Rick Baker had a lot to do with some of the makeup and things of that, and that's why people like D'Onofrio looks so darn good with what he does. But it's a decent film. I'm going to go Tim Drake as well. It's a very, very solid recommendation. It's not the gold standard by any means, but I can't see most people watching this and not having a decent amount of fun,
And I'm still puzzled how they got a guy in that tiny little pug costume.
Well, Kenny Baker did just die recently, Bruce.
Oh, man, he wasn't that little.
How dare you? All right, so that is it for this episode, everybody. Next week, we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange. Not that one. We'd love to be talking about that one next week, but sadly, we have to wait like the rest of you fine folks because we're not that special yet. But we're going to be looking at the Marvel animated Doctor Strange thing, which I've only watched a little bit of. I've had the DVD forever, but I just started watching it late one night and just kind of, was too late to have started it. So I kind of fell asleep and everything. So we have to rewatch these things because I can't just go off of the 15 minutes I kind of remember watching years ago.
And I think I found it on Hulu. If people want to watch it, it's out there. It's streaming somewhere where you don't have to pay for it if you're a member, and I think it's Hulu.
There you go. So check it all out. Can I stream it? That website. Go to that thing. All right, and so we'll be talking about that next week. Will Sean Keenan be here? Will he not? I don't know. We'll see. We hope so. But we know he's out there. Why don't you hit him up on the tweets there? Let him know you love him. Hero Movie Sean on the tweeters. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week, sir?
Well, the second part of the Henry Pym episode has just dropped on Heroes and Villains, so people can go see how Ant-Man's story wraps up. Hopefully, we'll have some more Chubby Wizard out the same day as this episode dropped. Well, 2 weeks before this episode dropped. I forget we're doing time travel stuff. Doctor Who, timey-wimey, Weeping Angels, the whole bit.
Exactly.
Anyway, those are my shows. Go check them out. There should be something to check out.
I'm hoping to see Billy Piper up in the Dragon Cons there, so I probably didn't by the time that you see this. She did not. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Bruce. I'm gonna say she did. She declined my invite to the room and everything. I had a lot of checks mixed, but she said no. She said no, thank you, in a nice British polite way, and then just kind of scurried off. And then two large men, threw me out the door. And I said,
she blocked my alternative Twitter handle, which is @badwolf69. But I've been sending her a lot of messages. So
hey girl, what's up now? So that's it, everybody. Join us next week when we talk Doctor Strange, the animated movie. For Bruce Leslie, the absent Sean Keenan, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
The good guys dress in black, remember that, just in case we ever face to face and make contact. The title held by me, M.I.B. means what you think you saw, you did not see. So don't blink, be what was dead is now gone. Black suit with the black Ray-Bans on. Walk in shadow, move in silence, guard against extraterrestrial violence. But yo, we ain't on no government list. We straight don't exist, no names and no fingerprints. Saw something strange, watch your back, cause you never quite know where the MIBs is at. And
here come the men in black, Galaxy Defenders. Here come the men in black, they won't let you remember.
Now, from the deepest of the darkest of night, on the horizon, bright light into sight, tight camera zoom on the impending doom. But then like boom, black suits fill the room up with the quickness, talk with the witnesses, hypnotize up, neuralize up, vivid memories turn to fantasies. Ain't no MIBs, can I please? Do what we say, that's the way we kick it. You know what I mean? Or see a noisy cricket get wicked on you. We're your first, last, and only line of defense against the worst scum of the universe. So don't fear us, cheer us. If you ever get near us, don't jeer us. We're fearless, MIBs freezing up all the flag. What that stand for? Men in black, and
The men in black. The men in black.
let me see you just bounce it with me, just bounce with me, just bounce it with me. Come on, let me see you just slide with me, just slide with me, just slide with me. Come on, let me see you take a walk with me, just walk it with me, take a walk with me. Come on, and make your neck work. Now freeze. In closing, I know we might seem imposing, but trust me, if we ever show in your section, believe me, it's for your own protection. Cause we see things that you need not see, and we be places that you need not be. So go with your life, forget the Roswell crap, show love to the black suit, cause that's the men in, that's the men in.
Here come the men in black. Here they come. Galaxy Defenders. Defenders. Here come the men in black. They won't let you remember.